Peacemaker Season 2 has wrapped up. James Gunn promised the most insane episode ever. A crazy season, lots of cameos and excitement. But did it live up to the hype? Hello everyone, welcome to Digital Charcuterie. My name is James. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're a fan of Peacemaker and looking forward to the future of the DCU, hit that subscribe button because I talk about it and discuss it with you all the time right here on the channel. And right off the bat, I got to know your thoughts on the Season 2 finale of Peacemaker. Let me know. And if you have not seen the Season 2 finale of Peacemaker Full Nelson, you got to hit that pause button, go back, watch it. I'll see you in about an hour, unless you haven't seen any episodes, and I'll see you in like an hour and a half because they're very short. Other than this one, this was about an hour long. Before we get into it, I just want to say thank you guys so much. It's been a blast talking Peacemaker with you for the last 8 weeks. Having the conversation in the comments down below has been an absolute blast. And special shout out to the hotness McAwesome. And we're going to get right into it. I want to know what you guys thought of it for real, because I think this is going to be a divisive episode. I don't think a lot of people are going to be very happy. And I think it's mostly going to have to do with James Gunn coming out and saying how excited he was for it and how the cameos and all that stuff. And ultimately, did we get any of that stuff? The spoilers are going to start now. Yes and no. We didn't. There were like little cameos, there weren't big cameos. But ultimately, the one thing with this episode, though, that I was curious about was I felt like the season pretty much wrapped up in episode 7. Like a lot of the threads were wrapping up in episode 7, but this one was a true season finale, like of a TV series. If you actually just look at this separated from the DCU, like and all the craziness that surrounds it, which is hard to do because it is part of the DCU, like, so it's fair to judge it on that. But if you separate it, it actually was a very fulfilling finale in those terms. And I mean that because all the threads were wrapped up. Obviously there's a cliffhanger at the end that we'll get to, but the threads were all wrapped up. Everything comes to a full complete stop, and you understand all the actions that everyone did this whole season, like right from the get-go, with Peacemaker going in and meeting with the Justice Gang and having his audition for the Justice Gang. I believe in my first review, I said, well, this is going to come back at the end. And it 100% does, but in a completely different way. And the whole season was about the 11th Street kids finding themselves and learning their place in the world. And in the end, their place in the world were the 11th Street kids, but they're not the 11th Street kids now. They form Checkmate, which was huge, and a few people, not a lot, but a few of you in the comments, you guys guessed it correctly, and that's awesome. And that was great. That's a great moment. And like I said, the threads were all there this whole episode. So let's get right into this. Of course, it starts off 1 month ago on the infamous boat, and we finally see what went down. First, it starts off at a burger place, which we'll get to later on in the episode as well. But we're on this burger place. They're having a great time, Harcourt and Peacemaker, that is, and they're having shots, and they get hammered, and they decide to go for a little walk, and they go down to like the pier, and they're like, oh, look at this. This is beautiful over here. And they're having a very great moment. And you kind of get like, oh, they're friends and possibly more than friends as this progresses. And then of course they go on the boat, and the band on the boat is Nelson, and this episode was Full Nelson, and I laughed hysterically, and my wife said, what's so funny? And I said, the title of this episode is just based on this boat and the band on the boat. And I was having a good laugh at that. And we finally see what went down. They was having a good time singing and dancing on the boat, and then they embrace and a kiss, and Harcourt loses her buzz in the moment. I think everybody's been in this situation, loses her buzz in the moment and says, I gotta go, and takes off. And then we got Foxy Shazam bring us in with some old Lord with the dance sequence that everybody is. And it's funny, the dance sequence, how it started off with people like, this is a disappointment, to people online being absolutely obsessed with this dance sequence. I kind of feel like this is how this season is going to play out as well over time. But we get into the dance sequence. We come out of the dance sequence now, and we are in prison in modern day, and we see Peacemaker's there, and he doesn't want to see anybody. He's the angel of death. We saw them in the trailer. He's the angel of death, doesn't want to see anybody. He is cursed. He wants nothing to do with anyone. Then we get right to Argus, and what are they up to with the QUC? And we're finding out that they are entering worlds, and they're trying to find a place for resources. It's all about resources and helping humanity. But there's something off about all of this, and they start entering all of these worlds. Economos stays back to scan the resources, but there's no communication whatsoever. Once they enter the QUC, they lose all communication. So what they do is they kind of have like a telegrapher who comes out and announces what's going on. But things go awry very fast in there. My favorite part of all this, though, was that they're all in like their hazmat suits, but Judo Master still's wearing his Judo Master costume underneath it. I don't know why, but I thought that was a funny little detail. Some doors are locked, so they're like, we can't go in there. Door's locked. Door's locked. Oh, this door's open. Door 22 is open. The infamous door 22. They open it up, and what do you got in there? James Gunn's favorite fiery little imps running up, attacking Flurry, attacking Harcourt, just decimating everyone, ripping the cable so they can't get pulled in at all. They're all tethered together, I should point out, so that if anything goes awry, they can just pull each other back to the door. But the imps, man, they're all in and they start sawing away at the cord, and then they just devour Klein. Klein's dead. Flurry had a funny story about him, and this led to his demise, and he's gone. And you start to understand, like, you see Harcourt's like, there's something going on here. Flurry is not in love with this anymore either. There's a lot going on with Argus, what's going on. You also find out Harcourt's like, what are we doing this for? And she won't get an answer from Flag at all. Flag's kind of ignoring her. She says, hey, Rick. He goes, what? Like, their relationship is changing and devolving in this episode, in this scenario. Like, Flag is all in on what he's doing now. You even see, I believe, Luthor Corp logos on the computer screens. If I'm not mistaken, they're there throughout it. So you're seeing like Argus is also, they're evolving into Luthor Corp now. Like they're becoming something worse than Waller would have been, I believe. Like they're on their pathway to hell right now. Then we move on to Economos and Harcourt having a conversation in Peacemaker's house. Economos is looking for something. They're talking about what they're doing. Economos doesn't believe the nonsense that they're doing. Harcourt, I think, wants to believe only because she really feels like she serves no purpose other than having a job at Argus. I think that's why she wants to believe in what they're doing and the mission that they're on. And Economos is like, no, you're not getting it. What, like, everything we've done is a lie. And he really wants to just find Eagley. He finds Eagley, and oh man, Eagley is hiding, and I think it was like a closet, just in the corner, head down, depressed. And I love, look, this whole season, Economos and Eagley have had this weird relationship, right? Like, Economos saves Eagley. Eagley's the prime eagle. There's going to be a reason for that, James Gunn said, so pay attention. And then Eagley does not save Economos at all, but now Economos, all he wants to do is help his friend Eagley out. So he goes to get some lunch meats for him because he sees how depressed Eagley is, because Peacemaker hasn't been around for a while and he misses his buddy. That's when we move on to my other favorite dynamic duo this season, and that is Vigilante and Adebayo. And I thought they had a really great moment here because both of them are Peacemaker's best friend, right? Adebayo actually is, and Vigilante wants to be and believes that he is. And Adebayo says, we got to use your blood money to get Chris out of prison. He goes, we can't. This blood money, it's cursed. It's going to put a curse on him. And I think Vigilante might have been onto something. And she says, maybe you're not as good a friend as I am. And Vigilante gets really, really offended by that. And he just used it to get Chris out of prison. He doesn't want to get out, but he has no choice. He has to. And when he gets out, he vanishes. He just takes off and no one is able to find him. From here, we go back into the QUC and we see the skull spider guys, and they just say no and they shut the door. All these weeks of looking at it like, oh, that looks so awesome. They're just like, hell no, shut that door. I don't blame them. But then they see like this black hole and they get a note saying, this one might do. And you start to think, what are they looking for? What is going on here? Flag is up to something. Sacha Bordeaux now is noticing something's not right. He won't talk to Harcourt. He won't tell anybody what they're looking for. But there's like a small clique, and it's mostly Luther's goons. There's a small clique. It's Luther's goons. They know what's going on, and Flag won't let anybody else in. And now Sacha Bordeaux's on the out. We know that Flurry's been on the out for a few episodes. So things are looking bad for Argus, but they're looking worse for everybody else because no one knows what's going on, but nobody can stop them from doing what they're doing. And that's when we learn what's happening here. And this is where I thought James Gunn pulled a good one here. I thought this was really cool. They're on Salvation. The Salvation run of comics is a wild, wild card to pull, but it's kind of awesome at the same time. They found a dimension where they want to put metahumans, and Flag tries to convince Congress of this, and they're like, well, you hate Luthor, what's going on? He goes, I know I hate Luthor, but he's the smartest man on the planet, and he thinks this is the best thing to do, and they want to put metahumans. You see at the end of Superman that Flag starts to distrust metahumans, and now they have this place that he's calling Salvation, and it's beautiful. And when Argus, when the team gets there, they take off their helmets and they're like, this is beautiful, it's so perfect, oh my God, yeah. And they're like, this is the one. We found it, which really tips off Sasha Bordeaux. And now in that meeting, she is not liking what she's hearing. Flag is like, we're going to put metahumans there. And they say, well, we're going to only put metahumans there. And he goes, well, we haven't figured out the specifics or the legalities of it yet, but yeah, sure, whatever. And they kind of sounds like it's going to be approved. Happerson and Otis, they're like, yeah, you did great in there. Happerson, by the way, was really hilarious in this episode. But they, they're all happy about it. And Sasha Bordeaux's like, I don't like this. She calls Harcourt and says, we got to have a meeting. She tells Harcourt what they're up to. And Harcourt's like, you're a metahuman. You're F, man. This is not good for you. You can get court-martialed for this. And she goes, well, what? She goes, I don't know what to do. Like, I have no other option now. And that's when Harcourt says, I got somebody to call. Adebayo comes in. And they're like, we got to start our own company. Game, set, checkmate. Is that how chess works? Checkmate is coming. And while Adebayo is pitching this to Sasha, Harcourt is in the bathroom and she sees the ticket for the Nelson concert on the boat. We have the flashback to the boat. That's when we see what actually went down on that boat with the kiss and the love. And oh my gosh, things are happening. There's sparks are flying between those two, obviously, and she wants nothing to do with it. And it definitely broke Peacemaker's heart, and that really put him down this pathway of where the season goes. Lee and Kia now have a moment where they officially break up. Like, this was the ending. It was kind of wild. I didn't really know when this was going on, how this would play out, but she's just like, if I live my life, you'll be miserable. If you live your life, I don't think I'm going to be happy. I'm probably also going to be miserable. So we got to go our separate ways. And I thought Danielle Brooks was a standout in this episode. I think she's been good all season, but this was her episode. I mean, she cried in like 7 scenes, but this was her episode. I thought she was fantastic in this one. I like the way they played off this relationship. Like, it was almost like we have to get her out of this relationship. Do we? Yeah, we do. It just wouldn't work out for anybody. It was a very realistic approach to it, which I like. And like a zany comedy superhero show, this was a very realistic moment in it, and I really appreciated it. And I thought the acting was great in this one, and I love the dogs also. To form their little checkmate, they're going to need Peacemaker in there, but they can't find him. But you know who can? Sasha Bordeaux, because she has clearance, the Peacemaker clearance to get in, because he has a chip in him, but no one else has clearance anymore, so they need to use her to get the clearance, but they need Economos to divert attention from Happerson, who can see everything that Sasha Bordeaux does on the computer. So he's the worst at it. And it was a really funny scene. My wife was dying of laughter in this scene. She was just losing her mind. And the post-credit scene also has an extended version of this, and she just could not stop laughing. I think as much as Adebayo, I think this episode was her episode. I think Economos is one of my favorite characters. Like, he's just hilarious every time he talks. And this scene was just no exception. Just the way he does not know how to handle himself. He's not Black Ops. He doesn't know what he's doing. I thought it was great. And Harcourt, like, you're so bad at this. And being like, I know I am. I just love the self-awareness of it. I thought it was great. Anyway, they track Peacemaker down to his motel, and they all confront him over there. And Vigilante, he jumps out. Full gear, though. I loved it. Full gear. Tasers him, and they're like, dude, you got to come back. He goes, I don't want to come back. I'm the angel death. Everything I do is bad. And this is when, again, Adebayo steps in and she says, you're not paying attention. When you do what everyone else tells you to do, that's when it gets bad. When you do what you want to do, magic happens. She goes, I saw an eagle hug a man because of you. And there's kind of a realization there, but it looks like in this scene, in this moment, it ends that he decides not to do it. But then he confronts Harcourt and he says, what did the boat mean? Did the boat mean anything to you? And she goes, I'm not stable, Peacemaker. I like, Chris, I'm not stable. I can't, you don't listen. He goes, I don't care about that. I just want to know yes or no. Did something happen on that boat mean anything to you? And she says, of course it did. It meant everything. And from there, we cut to a week later, and they're watching Foxy Shazam. And well, first there's a dance, an actual dance by Peacemaker happening to Foxy Shazam. But then we get on the boat again, and it's Foxy Shazam, not Nelson, on the boat, and they're having a moment there as well. It's all nice. And while they were doing that, they were cutting to them building their new organization in their office, where they're taking the money from Vigilante, the blood money, which is something I predicted. 1 out of 25 ain't bad. So they take the money to set up their organization. While that's happening, you find out this is where obviously Sasha Bordeaux's there. Flurry joins them, which was great. And then I also thought last week that Judo Master would join them, and he did, and I love that. I love this crew. Every character in this crew, I'm so happy that we're going to get more of, because I just really love these characters. And this season, I think when it all comes down to it, this season was about these characters finding out who they are, but also us finding out who they are, because we're going to be following them for quite some time in the DCU. Like, these are our Nick Furies, right? Everyone has associated Rick Flag with that role, but I think it's going to be this group here, the former 11th Street Kids. This is our Nick Fury now. This is going to be the glue that holds us together. I'm not saying. And James Gunn did say a little while ago, I think he was asked like Rick Flag is that role. He goes, yeah, but there's a lot of people like, and he mentioned Economos specifically, and I think really this is going to be that crew. These are the ones that now that we know them, they're going to be around for a long time, and we're going to follow their adventures, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really glad because I really like all these characters, and more Tim Meadows the better, right? And it was a great moment, right? Checkmate is named, the name drop is there. Comic fans are like, yeah, this is awesome. And Peacemaker got his ending with Harcourt. All is right in the world, and then Peacemaker goes back to his room for the night, and he gets bagged and taken back to Argus. And Rick Flag's waiting for him. He goes, what is going on? And he throws him in Salvation. And he goes, we need a human test subject. And he goes, I didn't sign off on that. And they pull up the paperwork and they forged all of his signatures. And this is when it all comes back to the very beginning. It's for killing his son. Revenge for killing his son has put Peacemaker in Salvation. And the QUC portal shuts. Peacemaker tries to run and catch it. He misses out. And then the killer beasts roar. The killer beasts roar. And that's where we end. That's season 2 of Peacemaker. Checkmate. And a cool note about Salvation in the comics. It's not empty. It's not just a killer beast roar. It's a training ground for the new gods of Apocalypse. Overseen by Desaad. James Gunn coming in. It's not Brainiac. Maybe it is. It looks like we might get Brainiac still in there tomorrow. All the clues are pointing to that. But Desaad, something big is happening. Peacemaker is right dead set in the middle of something huge that's happening with the DCU. And James Gunn did it hidden in plain sight for the entire season. It was all leading up to this. And of course, Desaad is the master torturer for Darkseid. So the Darkseid connection is slowly building. We've seen hints of it forever now. Everyone is speculating on it. And it looks like this is where we're going. And of course, chapter 1 of the DCU is Gods and Monsters. It's been in our face the entire time. Desaad, Peacemaker, Rick Flag, Lex Luthor team up. Does Lex Luthor end up on Salvation as well? Time's going to tell. I'm looking forward to it. Look, this season again, I think if James Gunn would have kept his mouth shut, I think people would have enjoyed this, especially this finale, a lot more. Because like I said, if you strip it away, if you remove all of that noise, it's actually a pretty solid finale. It wraps everything up with a nice little bow, but then leads you into what's to come, obviously. But when you're told, cameos galore and it's the most insane thing ever, then you start to speculate more and more about what's going to happen, and then that could actually lead you to be very disappointed in it. And you know what, maybe you were disappointed, and that's also fair. You could be whatever you were. For me, I thought it was a great finale. I don't know if this season, I don't think the season was as strong as season 1. It's because season 1 had a really good story. The characters are still great. The characters are great here, but season 1 had a stronger story. Season 2 had a great story though, and now where it's leading is even more exciting, and I can't wait to see where it goes. I can't wait to see what we get. Are we where does Peacemaker go from here? How do you get back Peacemaker? Obviously, Checkmate now is going to try to find him and locate him and go after him, and they know they know what Salvation is. Like, they know that much. Sacha Bordeaux knows more than anybody else. So there's that right there to get there. But when? I don't think this is going to happen in Man of Tomorrow. So when do we get Peacemaker back? How do we resolve this? And I haven't watched the after podcast yet because I'm recording this. I haven't seen, is there a next week trailer? I haven't paid attention to anything yet. I can't wait to see. I'll have more videos in the days, weeks, months to come. I can't wait to talk about it. I think James Gunn, he's building something spectacular, and this is the beginning of it all. And I can't wait to see what we get. I can't wait to see where we go. And again, like I said, like, these Checkmate characters are some characters that I absolutely really enjoy watching, and I'm really glad that we're going to get to follow them through the course of at least chapter 1 of the DCU. Guys, also, I just want to apologize. My throat, I've been sick for the last little while, so just sorry about that. And on that note, I want to thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time, and appreciate your time all these 8 weeks talking about Peacemaker. It's really been a blast. Thank you so much. If you like the video, hit the like button. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe. And until next time, may you be the master of your own universe.